If you're a powerhouse woman stuck obsessing over someone emotionally unavailable, like they're not good for you, but you can't stop thinking about them and it feels like your brain is legit broken, then this video is for you. I'm Tiff, and this woman used to be me. Now I help high achieving women who are successful as fuck, but keep obsessing in relationships and failing at love. The truth? This problem is not psychological. It's physiological. Stick around and I'll show you why you are not broken and how to finally stop obsessing fast. First, I gotta be honest with you. I have been successful my entire life, but I struggled for decades. I was obsessed with emotionally unavailable women and kept chasing them. My track record of success looks like the military, CIA. I got my MBA. I was a management consultant at several big four firms. Then I became an entrepreneur, and I've even been an American Gladiators finalist along the way. Here's the deal, though. About 8-9 years ago, my life fell to pieces. I've always struggled in relationships. My first girlfriend had a boyfriend. My wife had a partner when I first met her. I got stuck in a situationship for 4 years, but 8 years ago was my rock bottom. This is when I saw my wife cheating. My marriage completely imploded. And at the time, she was my business partner and my best friend. So I lost my business partner, my best friend, and my wife. And at that point, my trauma had completely stacked. I hit my rock bottom. I mean, like movie style, curled up in a ball on the ground, bawling my eyes out. Eventually, when your trauma stacks, you reach a breaking point after my dad dying in my arms, being hunted in the military for being gay, dealing with an emotionally turbulent childhood. All of it just stacked. I am so grateful for all of my trauma and even my divorce because this led me to finding myself. After I found myself broken and on the floor, I thought it was a good idea months later to start swiping. Clearly, I swiped too soon. I found myself in a 4-year situationship. That girlfriend-ish situationship, she lived with her ex-girlfriend. It was a hot mess. The real problem here was not the divorce, not my rock bottom. The real problem was that I was building a company that had the potential to change health in the US. I was in my purpose, building something epic, but at the same time, I was obsessed with this woman who was not choosing me. I was obsessed with, will she drink less? Will she choose me? Will she make time for me this week? Will she allow me to be around her family and friends? I was literally obsessed with this relationship that was bringing me stress and a bunch of scraps. Now, I will say everyone I've ever dated, they are beautiful humans. There's nothing wrong with her. We match with people for a reason. The most painful thing that came from this situationship, after tangling with this year after year, I became increasingly pissed off at myself. I knew I could change the world. I knew I was so powerful, yet I was giving away 90% of my brain to this situationship, checking her social media, checking her Spotify, checking her Facebook. I was obsessed with what was going to happen next, and it was completely taking my mental and emotional capacity. I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed, and I felt alone. How could I be so powerful, but so caught up in my head roughly 90% of the time? I could only get relief when I was working out like crazy, over exercising, or constantly digesting self help books and podcasts. Abraham Hicks, the book Attached, anything Brene Brown wrote. I was obsessed with working on myself. This pain and the fact that I was not in my true potential, it drove me to work on myself full time for 8 years. I spent over $45,000 rewiring my mind and body and cracking the code to get out of my mind, stop chasing emotionally unavailable women, and to come back to the moment. Now I want to share what brought me so much relief and clarity. I learned that this pattern, chasing emotionally unavailable people in relationships and constantly ruminating and overthinking, obsessing about these people, this is normal for high achieving women. Let me tell you why this is. 75% of high achieving women come from troubled homes. What a troubled home means is simply that these women didn't get the love that they needed and deserved between the ages of 6 and 10. Now, this doesn't have to be big T trauma. This could simply be your parents worked a lot, they were emotionally absent, or maybe one of your parents drank too much, or maybe they were very strict and controlling. Bottom line, you adapted to that environment and you learned how to earn love. What that means is that you looked externally and were hyper vigilant and you did everything you needed to do to earn scraps of love, attention, and approval. What this often looks like is becoming the good girl, being quiet so you don't upset anyone, tolerating everyone else's emotional absence, or perhaps tolerating fighting, physical or emotional abuse in the household. It could look like shrinking your personality, being a parent to your siblings, being that emotional crutch for your parents. Bottom line, you looked externally and you figured out what song and dance you needed to do to be accepted and to get scraps of love, attention, and approval. What that also looks like when you become the good girl, you get really, really good at achieving, getting good grades, playing all the sports, doing all the things you need to do to get approval, whether that be from your parents or from a coach, from a teacher. Essentially, you become really high achieving because you came from that troubled home and didn't get the love that you needed and deserved. This is exactly the reason why you're successful in your career, but then in relationships, you match with emotionally unavailable people and chase scraps and settle for less than you deserve. This common adaptation of not getting the love you needed and deserved when you were a kid between 6 and 10, what this most often looks like is anxious attachment. This is extremely common for high achieving women. In summary, this looks like overthinking, overgiving, overworking, and settling, and always feeling like you're never doing enough. Now, if this is you, again, I want you to know you are not alone. And I want to walk you through the science as to why this is not a psychological problem. This is a physiological issue. The science behind this, when you're in a household where you're not getting the love you needed and deserved, and there's turbulence or emotional absence, what this looks like is your nervous system as a child goes into overdrive. Now, this could be spilled milk and you got yelled at once. It could be your parents fighting in another room often. Bottom line is your nervous system goes into overdrive. Essentially, if there's a threat, if you're not getting the love that you need, your body has to do something, right? Imagine there's a threat of a tiger. Your nervous system runs from the tiger, fights the tiger, or freezes. When we're in these kind of households or troubled homes, our body freezes. Our nervous system freezes, and we get stuck in this survival energy that was never discharged. How this plays out, it looks like chronic tension and stress in the body. This chronic tension and stress in the body becomes a pattern that you actually perpetuate. Your emotional brain, the limbic system, prefers what it knows. In other words, it wants to keep you in this normal loop, not happy. So if love feels like settling, chasing, proving, emotional disconnection, stuffing down feelings, or walking on eggshells, your body is going to keep seeking this out. You will continuously match up with emotionally unavailable people because this roller coaster of angst in your nervous system feels normal. What this often feels like in your body overall, like I said, it's this angst all over your body, or like this rush, this roller coaster vibe up and down in relationships. It could also feel like bricks on your chest, a lump in your throat, a pit in your stomach, and this constant racing mind anticipating and fearing rejection and abandonment. This is so common for high achieving women. So it helped me to understand that I wasn't alone. This is a normal pattern. But what gave me even more emotional freedom is that I learned when the body feels unsafe, The brain does everything it can to create safety. So, because my nervous system was stuck in survival energy because my dad was emotionally absent, often drunk, my mom was away working at the bar all night long, they were fighting. Because my body had so much pent up survival energy and tension, the brain will overthink when the body feels unsafe. So, I learned again, I wasn't broken. This is just science. Now, I want to shift gears to tell you how to actually break this pattern. It took me so many years and so much money, 8 years and over $45,000 to figure out how to actually rewire my mind and my body. I spent so much time in pain repeating these patterns, and I was trying to solve this problem with talk therapy, self help books, ramming hundreds of podcasts into my brain, distracting myself. None of that worked because my body was stuck in survival energy. So, talk therapy will never solve this problem. All of the women that come to me to break this pattern have been in therapy for years and decades and have read all the books. They've tried EMDR, they've waved magical feathers under a full moon, and they can't crack the code. This was me as well. This healing whack a mole dance focused on the brain will never heal this pattern. To heal this pattern, you must heal it at the root, and you need a system that rewrites this pattern at the root cognitively, releases it somatically from the body, and then empowers you to rewire it in day to day life by giving you practical tools, methods, and frameworks to put yourself first and to align your daily actions with your needs, desires, and dreams. Again, you need a system, not healing whack a mole. And you must rewire this at the root. This is not a psychological problem. This is a physiological problem. And once you release that survival energy from the nervous system, specifically from the brain stem, then all of this work becomes simple. And dare I say, easy. It actually feels good. So, in summary, if you're here and you're struggling with obsessing over someone that you know is not good for you, I'm sending you so much love. I know this is so painful, frustrating, and it's easy to beat yourself up about this. Know that this is extremely common for high achieving women, and the exact same pattern that has you caught up chasing emotionally unavailable people is the same pattern that also makes you a total badass, resourceful as fuck, independent, and successful in your career. So let's honor that pattern. Honor that it's great, it made you successful, and also it makes you fail at relationships, and it just is what it is. The fact that you're here right now and you have access to information to where you know about this being common and that you know you need a system and not healing whack a mole. Let's honor that you're here. Your timing is perfect. And if you are a high achieving woman that is very aware of her hustle for love pattern and you've worked on it and you feel stuck and you're owning it and you're not blaming anyone else, and if you're truly ready to break this pattern for good, then I want to hear from you. I want you to go ahead and book a 15-minute connect call below. The link is in the notes. And on that call, my main intention will be to figure out, what are you struggling with? What are your goals? And bottom line, can I help you? If I believe I can help you, for sure, we can book another call and build out a high-level strategy for you. If I can't help you, I'm going to do everything I can to get you connected with the help and support that's a better fit for you. I'm so glad that you're here and that you have access to this information. Your timing is perfect. Know that you are not broken, and I'm sending you so much love, and I really hope to hear from you.